Okay, hi, I'm Sterling and you're learning American English with me. I'm doing a kind of experimental new video here. I'm actually going to give this lesson in a little while to 3 different students at slightly different levels. But this is an exercise in learning to compare the verb tenses that you already use in your native Spanish with the verb tenses that you're learning to use in English. Believe it or not, contrary to the way many textbooks teach this, the verb tenses in English are related to the verb tenses in Spanish. And it's a very valuable thing for you to learn to connect the two so that at the beginning you have a path for your brain to follow between what you want to say in Spanish and what you want to say in English. And after you follow this path enough times, you'll begin to learn to say it automatically in English. But there are a few complications. Sometimes the verb tenses in one language don't exactly correspond with the verb tenses in the other exactly. And that's what I want to talk about in context with these examples. And by the way, I'm going to cut this video off at about 10 minutes because I have a 15-minute recording limit here on my recording program, and also because you probably don't want to listen to me for 15 minutes. You might just turn me off after that much time. So let me start in with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read a couple of sentences, maybe a paragraph in Spanish, and then we're going to talk about how you express those same verb tenses in English, and we're going to tell a kind of a story at the same time to help keep this interesting so that you don't fall asleep. So let's get started in Spanish. Hace unos 3 años estaba cansado de trabajar. Tal vez te has sentido cansado de hacer la misma cosa año tras año porque en verdad no estabas haciendo lo que querías hacer. Does that sound familiar? About 3 years ago, I was tired of working. Estaba cansado de trabajar. I used the simple past here in English. I won't tell you why, but I used the simple past here because it sounds better. Estaba cansado is imperfect past in Spanish. Don't worry about that right now. Tal vez te has sentido cansado. Maybe you have felt tired. Has sentido cansado of doing the same thing year after year. Because in truth, you were not doing what you wanted to do. I bet this is familiar from many people because I know that it was for me. I used, in truth, you were not doing what you wanted to do. I used were not doing, no estabas haciendo. That if I use were in English, it more approximates the imperfect past. If I use were, it expresses the idea of something that was happening over a period of time in the past, as opposed to a point in time. But let's move along with that. Se me ocurrió, quería saber qué debería yo estar haciendo. It occurred to me, I was wondering to myself, is another way of putting it. Quería saber, I wanted to say, I was wanting to say. ¿Qué debería yo estar haciendo? What should I estar haciendo, be doing? Debería estar haciendo lo que me gusta, algo lo que me gusta. I should be doing something I like. No debería ir al trabajo solo para ganar efectivo. I should not go to work just to earn a paycheck. Or in English, we might say, I should not be going to work just to earn a paycheck. We often use this continuous thing in English. I won't talk about that. Now I'm just giving you some examples. Pero yo había estado haciendo esto toda mi vida. And I bet you have too. Yo había estado haciendo. I had been doing this all my life. Cuando alcancé al punto de realizar, when I reached the point of realizing que yo iba a poder hacer algo para cambiar la situación, that I was going to be able to do something to change the situation. It's almost a word-for-word translation, works perfectly here. Y mi perspectiva empezó a cambiar. I used simple past tense. My perspective began to change. I could use an imperfect kind of a version of empezar. I could have said empezaba, can't cambiar, in which case in English I would say my perspective was beginning to change. Okay. Tuve que esperar unos 2 años antes de que pudiera recibir mi pensión. I had to wait about 2 years, unos 2 años, antes de que, before, podía recibir mi pensión. I could receive my pension. I had to wait about 2 years before I could receive my pension. Or another way of saying it, podría decir, todavía tenía unos 2 años hasta que yo fuera a alcanzar la edad a que podría calificar de recibir mi pensión. Todavía tenía unos 2 años. I still had about 2 years hasta que, until yo fuera a alcanzar, I was going to reach the age, la edad a que podría calificar, the age at which I could qualify to receive my pension. We have a great simplification in English. In Spanish, we have said hasta que, so I had to say fuera. It's subjunctive. Don't worry about that. We don't have it in English. That's really a great thing. Un buen rato considerábamos unas posibilidades de países. For quite a while, we were considering some possibilities of countries. Considerábamos unas posibilidades. Considerábamos, I said we were considering, because that's imperfect. That means we considered over a period of time. So we were considering some possibilities de países a que podríamos habernos mudado, incluido a Chile. 2 countries to which we could have moved, a que podríamos habernos mudado. De hecho, deberíamos haber viajado a Chile para investigar. In fact, we could have traveled. Deberíamos haber viajado a Chile to investigate. Si habíamos tenido suficiente dinero para hacerlo. This gets confusing in English. If we had had sufficient money to do this. Now let me explain. You have had, if we had. You see, in English, the first have is the auxiliary verb, have. The second have is tener, to have. In Spanish, there are 2 different words. In English, to have, the auxiliary verb, is not the same word as to have, like to possess something. So it sounds very funny. If I had sufficient money to do so. This had is the auxiliary, that had is the having. Uno de mis hermanos mayores había estado de vacaciones en Chile hace unos años. One of my older brothers había estado de vacaciones, had been on vacation. Había estado de vacaciones. Y me había dicho muchas buenas cosas. And he had told me many good things. about Chile. I'm going to cut it off now and go to the second video so that we don't accidentally get cut off at 15 minutes. So I just finished talking about Chile. I'm going to catch up with that in the next video. Thanks. See you in just a minute because I'm going to link these two videos.